Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today in this presentation. I will introduce you briefly to Hyperledger Fabric, and we will try to scratch the surface of its security. Of course, if you have any questions, I will take them at the end of the presentation. So you can ask within your favorite language, English or Arabic, or French also. So the question, what's a blockchain? For my perspective, it's some kind of trust machine or a technology that helps us to digitize and build the trust within a trustless environment. Practically, a blockchain is a bunch of components. A blockchain is not a mere database, but I would say that it's the interaction. It is the intersection of three main components: a peer-to-peer network, a consensus mechanism, and also a special data structure where data is stored and added in units called the blocks. As you might know, blockchain can be categorized as permissioned or permissionless based on whether participation needs approval or not. Also, there are four subcategories of blockchains. We can, for example, the first category is public blockchains. There are blockchains that are usually permissionless and allow anyone to join and to access data. And they are also completely decentralized. We have the second subcategory, which are the private blockchains. They are usually permissioned blockchains controlled by a single organization. In private blockchain, the central authority, of course, this private organization determines who can read or write data. We have also the third subcategory, which is the consortium blockchain, which are also permissioned blockchains, but they are governed by a group of organizations rather than one entity. So they therefore enjoy more decentralization and than the private blockchain. And also we have hybrid blockchains. These are blockchains that are controlled by a single organization, but with a level of oversight performed by the public blockchain, which is required to perform certain transaction validation. Why do we need a permissioned blockchain or private blockchain or consortium blockchain? Generally speaking, this category of blockchains are suitable for business context where we need to identify the different actors in the network, and thus there is no need for Sybil or spam resistance mechanisms. There is no need for on-chain incentives, and therefore we don't have any currency implementation. And of course, this category of blockchains are more efficient and more scalable, which makes them suitable for business context. So now let's have a look at the Hyperledger Fabric, which is the main topic of our presentation. Of course, Hyperledger is an umbrella network, an umbrella project, forgive me. It's an umbrella project of Linux Foundation for blockchain technology. And currently, it consists of more than 15 projects. You can find them in this picture. And the first of which were, of course, Hyperledger Fabric. This later is a blockchain framework that helps developing permissioned blockchains-based solutions, mainly for business. And it provides you with the components that can help you to build a network and also a decentralized application for companies. Why I've chosen to present Hyperledger Fabric and to talk about Hyperledger Fabric, because currently this solution is the most preferred blockchain solution for companies, as shown by the study conducted by Block Data among, if I remember well, 100 public companies. I'm talking about worldwide scale. And we have found that blockchain is the favorite blockchain solution. And also this chart shows that there's a growing interest surrounding Hyperledger Fabric blockchain. So if we look at the Fabric network, so For example, for instance, in this picture, we have a Hyperledger Fabric network composed of 4 organizations, the 4 boxes, the 4 colored boxes. Inside each of these boxes or organizations, we can distinguish major components such as peers or peer nodes, clients or applications, ordering services, also the membership service and chain code, or chain code is the term used by Hyperledger Fabric to designate smart contracts, but basically a chain code is a smart contract. Each component of these has a unique role for different purposes. For instance, an application, we start always from an application side. So an application initiates, for example, a transaction proposal which is sent to the endorsing peers, like shown in this diagram. Second, these endorsers simulate or execute the smart contract or the chain code and give back their approval or endorsement. Third, of course, the application sends the transactions alongside the endorsement to the order, and this later creates a new block and broadcasts this new block to all the peers, and thus the block is added into the blockchain that each peer, of course, holds. Hyperledger, as I've mentioned before, is a permissioned blockchain, which means that each component and actor has an identity managed by a membership service provider, or MSP for short. Not like, of course, permissioned blockchains are not like public blockchains or cryptocurrency where we have a pseudo-anonymous system. But in this, of course, as I've mentioned before, Hyperledger Fabric is intended to be a blockchain, for business, for industries. So consequently, we need to manage to have an identity management system, or what we call a membership service provider in the case of Hyperledger Fabric. And also, Hyperledger Fabric adopts policies to define access control and governance over the network. Identities in the Hyperledger Fabric are typically managed using a classical PKI, public key infrastructure, where we have certificate authorities distributing certificates to all users and managing, of course, the identities of all the entities within the network. Policies allow the identity associated with a request to be checked against the policy associated with the resource. For example, here we have, for example, chain code can be invoked only by writers, which is kind of ECL or policy, and this policy can be satisfied by a transaction signed by any writer, like it is defined in the slide. And any writer is just a role that can be accomplished whether by an admin or a simple client which belongs to an organization within the scope of the Hyperledger network. Of course, the main goal of this presentation is to talk about the security of the Fabric network. As you know, despite the security measures that Hyperledger Fabric provides deployment as any blockchain, still require careful configurations and monitoring to ensure that the operations are conducted securely. In the upcoming section, I will try to examine different types of threats that we should consider and discuss. I will discuss also how to mitigate them. This table, I will, at the end of the presentation, share the reference. This table presents some of the known vulnerabilities and the corresponding risk ratings. These vulnerabilities share a common factor, which is a malicious actor gaining access to the permissioned network. So, or also we can have, like in this, for example, in this table, we have, for example, an important account like orderers admin was compromised, which will give, of course, access to the attacker to sensitive data, or he can, of course, stop or of course, stop the order or any entity within the network to operate as expected. Many of these threats also can only be, we can say that many of these threats can be detected by having a good monitoring, whether it's performance monitoring or a security monitoring within the network, because this kind of attacks can exhibit some kind of malicious behavior, which can be detected using some suitable tools. So other attacks in Hyperledger Fabric are common to all distributed systems, like DOS attacks. I think everybody is aware of what the signification of a DOS attack. In this kind of attack, an attacker can, for example, stop the network, or he can also try to manipulate the consensus mechanism in order to break the transaction order or to validate malicious transactions within the network. This, for example, the DOS attack or the manipulation of the consensus mechanism can also be mitigated by having or setting up good monitoring with good threat indicators. For example, we can use as indicators leadership election, transaction latencies, etc., etc. And all these kind of indicators can help us to detect compromised entities or malicious behavior. We need also to keep in mind, and this is very important, that Hyperledger Fabric use only crash fault tolerant consensus mechanism, which is of course not a Byzantine fault tolerant system, which means that if there's some malicious entity in the network, it can harm the consensus mechanism, and thus the system will not work as expected. Other attacks will, for example, in the case of the Hyperledger Fabric, will target specific components like the membership service provider. As I've said before, the MSP is responsible of managing the identities within the network. So to mitigate this risk, we can talk about having or putting in place some best practices related to managing the cryptographic credentials, and we can, for instance, use HSMs, which stand for hardware security modules. Also, we can rely on MSP login to have for example, to have an idea about the certificate creation, revocation, etc., to have an idea about what's happening within the network. Another issue is vulnerable smart contract or cheat code, which can compromise the business logic and the network performance. Like any piece of software, smart contracts are just code, so they can have for sure vulnerabilities and can have weaknesses. So to mitigate this risk, smart contracts, as any code, a piece of code should be designed with security in mind by following secure software development lifecycle framework and by implementing the best practices. Also, we can assess the chain codes or the smart contracts using some analysis tools like Hyperledger Fabric chain code analyzer, and there are many tools that can help you to assess the security of your chain code. But just another point, if your project is critical, or if you are dealing with sensitive application, you can consider also some external audit of your system, of your chain code, or rather go for a formal verification for your smart contract and for your whole system. Of course, when we talk about Hyperledger Fabric, it's not like an exogenous technology, but even if it is a blockchain or a new technology, but we use some existing technologies. Among them, we use Docker. a secure deployment is, as you know, is a part of proactive measures to mitigate potential risk. And Docker is one of the most common tools that we use to deploy Hyperledger Fabric network components. So we need to take all Docker security measures into consideration. And you can, for example, rely on the some OWASP, for example, security advices, etc., to have a secure deployment of your Docker system. Of course, when TLS activation or securing TA, I would say it's needless to say that we need to have secure interaction between the components of Hyperledger Fabric network. It's, in my opinion, it's a must. We should have by design TLS activation, and we should also secure our certificate authority. For example, we can have a good configuration of the certificate authority with an activation of the usage of HASM, hardware security modules, to have a kind of secure management of your cryptographic credentials. There are other granular measures that can be taken into consideration to mitigate the risk or the high risk vulnerabilities. I think I won't go into the details, as the audience, in my opinion, isn't familiar with Hyperledger Fabric. But if you need to know more, I would be glad to help, of course. And I would propose you to read a good security analysis that has been done by a security company about the an assessment of the Hyperledger Fabric system. You will find it under the link shared below. So I would advise you to read the document if you are interested. I'm always open to, if you reach out to me, if you have some specific questions about security, or or about if you are working on some projects on how to secure your project, and to share with you some best practices to do so. So this was my last slide. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm open, and thank you.
Hello again. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Butterflash for his innovation passage and for the time he gave us. It was undoubtedly very interesting and beneficial for all of us. So we're tackling the part of questions, and we will start with first question is how do you see the future of blockchain?
Okay, this is a big question. I think this question was asked many years ago. How can we foresee the blockchain future, etc., etc.? And we have already first answered that the blockchain technology is a revolution, is an ongoing revolution. It's something or a technology that has been created to stay with us, it is not a hype that will disappear overnight. So I think that this first answer that we have get already will be the same answer for the question in the future. So I'm seeing the blockchain technology as it will continue as a revolution technology and will bring for us new IT domains. We are already talking about Web3 and a lot of stuff out there, and think the revolution will continue with time. And what is very important to know is we should get in this car of or getting in this revolution and trying to benefit at the maximum, because blockchain is not a fancy technology just for geeks, but it's a technology that in the future will impact. It is impacting already our present, but I think it's not a mainstream technology. But I think within a few years it will be a mainstream technology. It will be like internet. Everybody already for cryptocurrencies. I think there is a big awareness in Morocco about cryptocurrency. But for the underlying technology, I think it will be the same within a few years. So I think it's an upcoming technology. It's a revolution that we should take into consideration.
Can we say that it will be the only transaction we do?
Sorry, I haven't heard the question.
Okay, I said, can we say that it will be the only transaction we do?
It will be
the only transaction we do.
Okay, I haven't heard the question well. I think I have some problems with my headset, but currently blockchain mainly is used for cryptocurrency. But we are trying, like in the case of Hyperledger Fabric, to use it in the business, in the industry. Okay, you are trying to write will be the only way. I get it now. So when we are talking about transacting, currently the blockchain is kind of the underlying technology of cryptocurrency. So if we are discussing the case of moving value in case of, for example, cryptocurrencies, I would say yes and no. It will be it will be another way along other ways of transferring value, like in the case of cryptocurrency. We will always, in my opinion, have banking system, or I would say classical means of payment, and systems that are based on blockchains, aka cryptocurrencies. So we will have the kind of mutual, or we will have both systems in the future. This part of saying only is very hard to foresee, in my opinion. But outside the cryptocurrency sphere, we will have also the same thing. We will have systems that are running over crypto or over blockchains, and other systems that are using classical architectures. But because, as you know, blockchain is bringing for us freedom, bringing for us decentralization, and these two values are not suitable for any product, for any service, etc. So they are just suitable for some use cases, for media, for finance, etc., etc. But they are not useful for any use cases, as I've said. So in the future, I would say that the blockchain, in the case of the cryptocurrency, will be a major transacting tool. So we will transact in the future using cryptocurrencies. I'm 100% sure of that, as I was a few years ago. But this will not be an only way to do so, because it's like, for example, newspaper. You have always we have this kind of digital version, but we keep having the paper one. So we will have this this kind of having both surviving the survival thing of the old form alongside the new form. So we will have always the banks, the classical financial system alongside the blockchain-based system, either for payment or for any generic purpose service.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, can you explain for Newbie the advantage of Hyperledger Fabric network? Okay.
So Hyperledger Fabric is as a project trying to bring blockchain to industry, to business, because as I've mentioned that in a previous slide, we are trying to bring a blockchain in the business ecosystem or to the business context. And as you know, business context is different from cryptocurrency context or a global context, like in the case, for example, the internet or any global system. In the case of business context, we have some requirements. We for example, we have to know who is, for example, transacting with whom. We need to know the identities of the transacting parties. We have some reliability towards the regulation. We have, etc. So we have some requirement that cannot be fulfilled by this kind of public blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Because we don't control them. We don't have we don't participate in the governance of the system. So Hyperledger Fabric and other projects try to bring this technology into this this area and trying to fulfill this requirement and to respect this requirement. So in Hyperledger Fabric, we have, for example, of course, a permissioned consortium of private blockchains. We can bootstrap a blockchain network easily. Also, we can, to write smart contracts, we can use some well-known technologies, like, for example, Java, like Node.js. So it's not like, for example, in the case of Ethereum or other blockchains, you should, for example, learn a new technology or a new language. In the case of Hyperledger Fabric, you are just reinvesting for example, the known technologies. Why they are using Java, for example, and Node.js? Because most companies have IT staff that master these technologies. So Hyperledger, in my opinion, in a nutshell, has succeeded to bring a good performance version of blockchain to business. This is first thing. Second thing is it's providing some kind of an easy gateway to get into the blockchain. So if you are a Java developer, a Node.js developer, and I think most developers at least know one of these technologies, so they can jump quickly or I will say easily with the big double quotes into the blockchain system, and they can start to write chain code. They can start playing with a blockchain. So this, in my opinion, two big major differences that Hyperledger Fabric has over some other blockchains. Because, like I've said before, there are a lot of, I would not say a lot of, but many blockchain solutions that try to accomplish the same goal, which is to bring blockchain to companies, to business.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Badr, for the informative presentation and your time. Thanks for our audience and for staying with us. We will get back to you, our dear audience, after a quick break. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and keep safe. Till next time.
Thank you.